Guys, buckle up. This is going to be a very interesting conversation, but I think that's one that's particularly appropriate considering the times that we are in right now. The past 3-ish years have been extremely interesting in a strange place on YouTube. Pre-COVID, I want to say I had somewhere between 10 to 15,000 subscribers, and now I'm sitting at a little over 500,000 subscribers, which is absolutely unbelievable. But there's one thing that I've learned on my time here on YouTube that I wanted to share with you guys here today. And it's the concept that looking at things over a screen, looking at things over a monitor is a lot different than dealing with those things, those situations, and those scenarios in real time, in reality, in real life. For example, and I'm going to use a very crude example right now, the porn industry, love it or hate it, the fact remains is that it's some of the most viewed content. It's some of the most visited sites that exist on this planet. Okay. Within that being said, what you're fundamentally doing is you're watching a dude plow a young woman. Now, digitally, it's extremely viewed, but would you actually want to be in a room watching a dude do that to another woman as you sit over in the corner and watch it? More than likely, no. Ergo, my point, right? I think that this misalignment between what is conveyed to you digitally in the privacy of your own home versus how you should think, feel, and act towards situations in reality has caused for issues within the space. Now, I mentioned this before. I consider men's content on the internet to be what is referred to back in my MBA class, I don't mean to get technical, but a blue ocean. A blue ocean market is one of which has relatively little to no competition, has a well-defined niche, has a well-defined customer base, and a relatively low barrier to entry. And because mainstream media has completely ignored men's content, more than likely because men just don't spend as much money as women. In conjunction, the current woke narrative that has such a stranglehold on our modern day society today, which can deem male focused content as being problematic because it doesn't put on a pedestal the way that a man might think, and instead tries to weaponize his mindset into being toxic or chauvinist or misogynistic. This, in conjunction with the decentralized nature of the internet and with the proliferation of video content platforms such as YouTube, has increased the widespread nature of all of the information within this blue ocean. Now, within this blue ocean has been several eras of Manosphere content. Now, it started roughly 10 to 15 years or so ago with MRAs, men's rights activists, and then transitioned sort of at the same time to PUAs, pickup artists, and then transitioned to this sort of dating coach community. And then a little bit after that, and kind of at the same time as well, it transitioned to where I started at, which is much more of this social commentary, dating commentary, relationship, marriage commentary, commentary creating a burning platform using viral videos in order to paint a picture or to tell a story regarding issues impacting or affecting men. All right. Now, what's interesting within that is that I was actually the first content creator that consistently brought women right next to me onto the channel and would have discussions regarding all of the content that was deemed Manosphere. And trust me when I say I received a ton of hate for it. Like a lot of goddamn hate for it, but it was what it was. I thought it was an interesting style of content that I thought it was important to bring in the other side of the equation of what all of this content was saying in order to battle test or to pressure test the concepts that was being taught. Each era of this Manosphere content wouldn't have existed without the previous era. So what's the era after my era? Well, it was live streaming. R.I.P. to Kevin Samuels. But what he did was genius. He leveraged the idea of taking these men's talking points in conjunction with the idea to bring women into the space to confront their unrealistic standards and expectations regarding men. And he married those things together, and he did it live. It truly shook up everything. It was truly a sight to behold and to witness, and it forever changed the landscape. And also, it ushered in this content in this general men's space into the mainstream. Kevin's approach galvanized a conversation that men and women needed to have, a conversation that our society needed to have. And it put into question a lot of these mainstream woke ideas that have permeated throughout our society for decades, all within the ideals of trying to heal the wounds created by a society that had not looked within itself and critiqued itself because it would hurt somebody's feelings. And although you may disagree with Kevin, the things that he would say out of his mouth, you'd be hard pressed to disagree and say that they were completely and utterly untrue. But the one thing that Kevin was extremely criticized for, and I think he actually did a really good job of circumventing, because he had his own platform where he can address these particular issues, was what he was saying, how he was saying it, which made it particularly polarizing. Then after Kevin's highest point came the Fresh and Fit boys. A little bit later after that began the rise of Andrew Tate, and then eventually Sneako. And with them came even more live streams, came even more polarization, came even more eyes on the sector, and more community guideline strikes. But throughout all eras of the content that I'm speaking about, in the history that I speak about them with, one thing that's remained consistent as the content has evolved and has iterated on itself over time, and that is the terms red pill and manosphere. I actually had a conversation with Kevin a few months before he passed, and I asked him flat out, I said, hey, brother, listen, do you consider yourself a manosphere or a red pill channel? And he immediately said no. He explained that because he had no control over those two words and the branding and the image of it, as it is taken different ways by different content creators all over in the space. He said he wants nothing to do with them. Now, mind you, in my mind, as I'm listening to Kevin speak, I'm like thinking good, because I was thinking the exact damn thing. Because the fact remains is that all of the bucketing or the overlapping or the generalizations made regarding red pill or regarding manosphere has created a convoluted definition. I mean, you got some people that will say red pill just has to do with the movie The Matrix. You got others that liken it to, a political term. And then you got others that'll say that it has to do with dating and female nature. You got others that'll just say it's just about understanding the truth. And then within that, you're going to get those that's going to say it's chauvinistic, it's incel material. But then also you get tech giants and then government entities that correlate it to right-wing, white supremacy, extremist groups that are conspiracy theorists. But with these negative brand associations, which have clearly reached as high as the Senate right now, the banning of Andrew Tate as well as Sneako is an attempt to draw a clear line in the sand of what is to be tolerated and what is to be not. I think Andrew Tate was banned for a variety of reasons. I think first and foremost, he was growing way too fast. And at the same time, he did far too little to address the allegations that were against him. And at the same time, he did far too little to address the out of text clips that were obviously used to paint him within an extremely negative light. At the same time, he's entertaining. And I think he's playing a character for a lot of the most egregious things that he was saying. But see, I would look at his content and be like, oh, he's trolling right there. Oh, he's trolling right there. Oh, like he's telling a joke right there. But other people just didn't get that. At the same time, he didn't have his own platform in order to address all of what I just mentioned before. Sneako's banning, I think, is a little bit different. I think that the straw that broke the camel's back was the anti-Semitic mocking that happened during that clip that was played on the Senate room's floor right before the head of product at YouTube had to get up and speak to it. But I do think that they were watching his content, because there's a component of his content that I am now aware of that gets a little bit conspiracy theorist, right? It gets a little bit Alex Jonesy, anti-government, which, by the way, if you are anti-government, that's one of the quickest ways to get your channel up for banning, because anti-government can quickly be folded into the bucket of conspiracy theorists, and conspiracy theory is clearly outlined within the YouTube policies regarding community guideline strikes. So in short, live streaming has killed the manosphere. In the moment, off the cuff statements that can easily be taken out of context were sensationalized, and then were deemed as radical. I think what the recent bannings have proven is that there is a cost to growing too fast while holding on to your particularly polarizing ideologies. And as content creators and live streamers that are looking at their analytics, you can receive this false positive from the viewers that are watching your content of what they want to see more like, and it causes you to constantly risk it in order to achieve the analytics biscuit. But what I think content creators as well as their audience members need to understand is that the higher the influence, the more risk of being polarizing, and the more important it is to frame out and articulate your words succinctly. In short, I believe that if you have particular influence within your space and you're not just on your own website somewhere on the internet and you're using someone else's platform, you must yield your influence with great responsibility and understand that this is not free speech up here. Because see, there's a free speech and then there is a tolerable speech. And that tolerable speech is different from platform to platform to platform with, from my eyes, it seems TikTok has the most intolerable speech. But depending upon the platform of that tolerable speech, your speech will be supplanted by the ruling ideology of that company. And if your speech is not valued by that ruling ideology, or if you don't toe the line enough, then you won't last. So in short, you gotta learn how to play the fucking game. This is tactical, and your rhetoric can potentially give up location. And now it's raining napalm. Anyone with that branding association, as we talked about before, is now guilty by association. But trust and believe, what I'm describing to you guys right now is just not on YouTube. It's literally every professional, every business setting or entity that exists in this world. There's none that just simply tolerates anything and everything that you want to come out of your mouth. There's decorum, there's normalcy, there's customs that you must adhere to in order to survive. Until next time, YouTube, peace.